Dr. Hardik, and today I will going to take lecture of atherosclerosis. It is the first distance learning lecture. So, what do you mean by atherosclerosis? The word itself suggests that athero plus sclerosis. What do you mean by athero? Athero means porridge. Porridge means we can say in Gujarati that it is a khichdi, and sclerosis at the same time it is hardening. So some hardening of the vessels at the same time it is filled with material like khichdi. Okay, so it is divided into the subtopic of definitions and introductions, epidemiology and incidence, risk factors means etiology, pathogenesis, morphologies of atherosclerotic lesions, complications, and clinical effect and treatment. So, in your exams, the atherosclerosis may be asked as full questions. At the same time, it may also be asked as short questions like pathogenesis of atherosclerosis, morphology of atherosclerotic plaques, like that. So now we start with the definitions. It is an acquired, not hereditary. It is acquired conditions. Multifactorial means there are so many factors involved in the pathogenesis of the atherosclerosis. Progressive disease of intima means it is an insidious in onset. It is a slow ongoing process which involve the intima of large and medium size elastic as well as muscular arteries, which is characterized by focal lipid rich intimal lesions called as atheroma, and which resulting in narrowing of the blood vessels lumen, and it may cause sclerosis. It is slowly progressive vascular disease. It is intimal lesions. So it's all about definitions and introductions. Again, it is an acquired, multifactorial, progressive disease of intima involving large and medium size elastic as well as muscular artery, characterized by focal lipid rich intimal lesions called as atheroma, and which resulting in narrowing of blood vessel lumen. So first portion is definition and introduction. Now the second portion is epidemiology. It is a worldwide, but it is more common in US. It significantly contributes in the mortality and serious morbidity. If you say age, then it is mostly seen in the older age people. In gender wise, we see there are male preponderance. It is most commonly seen in male. Why? Because in female there are estrogen, and these estrogen having anti-atherogenic effect. It has also a effect which leads to increased HDL. So because of estrogen, it is more common in male while it is less common in female. Risk factor. See, in risk factor, it is divided in three parts: modifiable risk factors, non-modifiable risk factors, and additional, or we can say minor risk factor. So first, modifiable risk factors, we can modify this. That is the reason why the name is modifiable risk factor. The first one is hyperlipidemia, the second one is hypertension, the third one is cigarette smoking, and the fourth one is diabetes. The individual role of each and every factors we discuss in detail in further slides. The second one is non-modifiable risk factors which cannot modify at all. The first one is increasing age, second one is male gender, third one is family history, and the fourth one is genetic abnormality. So these are the factors which are non-modifiable risk factors, and some of the additional risk factors like inflammations, CRP level, hyperhomocystinemia, lipoprotein, increased progulant level, inadequate physical activity, stressful life, for example type A personality, obesity, consumption of severe degree or moderate to high degree of alcohol. So these are the minor risk factors. So till now we discussed definitions and introductions and epidemiology and etiology. So in definitions, there are keywords like acquired, multifactorial, progressive, disease involving edema of large and medium-sized muscular artery, and this is characterized by lipid-rich intimal lesions called atheroma, and because of this there is narrowing of the blood vessel lumen. So at the same time there is a hardening and narrowing of the vessels. Epidemiology, risk factors divided into three parts: modifiable, non-modifiable and additional. In modifiable, hyperlipidemia, hypertension, cigarette smoking, diabetes, which we can modify. Non-modifiable risk factors in which increasing age, male gender, family history, genetic abnormality that we cannot modify at all. Some of the additional or minor risk factors which includes inflammation, CRP level, homocysteine increase, lipoprotein, increased procoagulant level, inadequate physical activity, stressful life, obesity, and alcohol. So till now you covered, we have covered definitions, introductions, and etiology, in which there are risk factors divided in three parts: modifiable, non-modifiable, and additional. Now, the major concern to the atherosclerosis is one of the factor, that is hyperlipidemia. So increase in serum lipid level, mainly cholesterol. Hyperlipidemia means increased level of cholesterol, at the same time LDL, which leads to increased possibility of atherosclerosis. Normal range of cholesterol, as we all know, that it is a range from 140 to 240 milligram per dl. It is a major lipid present in the blood. As you all know, the lipid metabolisms in which we can take lipids or fat from the diet. From the intestine, it is absorbed through chylomicron, and these chylomicrons contain fat which transports this fat or lipid from intestine to liver. From the liver, it is metabolized, and from here, the lipid in the form of VLDL secrete through the liver. It carries cholesterol and triglyceride removed and leaving behind LDL. This LDL is rich in cholesterol, carry cholesterol from the non-liver cells to peripheral tissues. And that is the reason why LDL is a bad cholesterol. While HDL is a high density lipoprotein which carries cholesterol from non-liver cells or peripheral tissues to the liver, and from the liver it is excreted through the bile. So HDL, this is the reason why HDL is a good cholesterol, because peripheral tissue to the liver, and LDL It is bad cholesterol because of fat depositions from liver to peripheral tissue. Familial hyperlipidemia. So it is genetically determined abnormalities of lipoproteins, leads to early development of atheroma. Secondary hyperlipidemia means dietary increase of saturated fat and cholesterol. In diet, there are three types of fat: saturated fat, unsaturated fat, or transsaturated fat, and polyunsaturated fat. So, cholesterol level is directly proportional to the saturated and transsaturated fat in the diet, while polyunsaturated fat, which is rich in omega 3 fatty acids, which is not a role to increase cholesterol. Again, good cholesterol HDL, bad cholesterol is LDL. So it's all about the role of hyperlipidemia in the atherosclerosis, and mainly the role is of cholesterol and LDL. The second one is cigarette smoking. It is a powerful risk factor for ischemic heart disease. Risk falls after giving up. The mode of actions, as we all know that because of cigarette smoking, it leads to reduced prostaglandins inhibitor. It is increased platelet aggregations at the same time because of carbon monoxide. Cigarette smoking leads to hypoxia and it has role in the IHD. The third one is hypertension. The hypertension means increased tensions because of high blood pressure, and because of this high blood pressures it can cause mechanical injury to the blood vessels endothelium. Diabetes mellitus, it doubles the risk of IHD. Diabetic mellitus also associated with high risk of cerebrovascular and peripheral vascular disease, hyperlipidemia and hypertension and glycation product. See, in diabetes what happens? There are increased sugar level, and because of this abnormal increased sugar level there are abnormal glycations product formed, and these product leads to endothelial injury. Now after these all factors leads to endothelial injury, and in the pathogenesis portions we can understand in detail what happens after endothelial injury, right? Some of the infections can also occur in the atheroma. It is most important questions in your MCQ portions. Chlamydia pneumonia, Helicobacter pylori, cytomegalovirus and herpes virus. These are the infections which is related to the atheroma formations. Alcohol consumption. See, alcohol consumption often associated with other risk factors like smoking and high blood pressure, but still is an independent risk factors. Why? Because in high or moderate consumption, degree of consumption of alcohol leads to increased cholesterol and LDL level, while in smaller amount it may be a protective because in smaller amount it has anti-platelet effect. At the same time it increase HDL cholesterol, which is good cholesterol, because HDL utilize the peripheral fat and to the liver, and from the liver this excess fat may be secreted from the bile. So smaller amount of alcohol may be protective, but the individual factor which leads to atherosclerosis is alcohol in moderate to severe degree of consumption. So it's all about the risk factors, how it acts, or what is the role of each factor. Majority of role is of endothelial injury, right? So pathogenesis in which severe, there are several theories in pathogenesis of atherosclerosis, like insudation hypothesis, incrustation hypothesis, monoclonal hypothesis, response to injury to the hypothesis, in which you see that there are four types of theory. Insudation theory given by Virchow, in which there is role of lipid depositions. Incrustations hypothesis, it is given by Rokitansky, in which there is role of thrombosis. But later on, again another theory, that is monoclonal hypothesis, in which smooth muscle cell proliferation and it may lead to atherosclerosis. But nowadays, these all theories are obsolete, and the theory today's era is response to injury of hypothesis, and this theory is blending of all the threes. So what happens in the response to injury? As in previous slides, we saw a modifiable risk factor, non-modifiable risk factors, and minor risk factors. These all risk factors may lead to directly or indirectly endothelial injury, and it may lead to endothelial cell dysfunctions. So here in this schematic diagram, you can see the vessels, cross section of the vessels, which is lined by endothelium. It is rest on intima, media, and adventitia. Means it is rest on the basement membrane, and this basement membrane again divide intima, media, and adventitia. So what happens after the etiology? There is a injury to the endothelium. This endothelial injury may lead to leukocyte adhesions to the endothelium. And mainly these leukocytes are T lymphocytes and monocytes. So clear, one reason or one of the reason after endothelial injury that leads to leukocyte adhesions, and mainly the monocytes and T lymphocytes. It adhere to the defected endothelium. Now, because of breaching or injury to the endothelium, there is increased vascular permeability. Obviously, because of injury, there is a increased vascular permeability. At the same time, because of injury, there is a primary hemostatic plaque formations, leads to platelet adhesions and thrombosis, and movement of LDL across the endothelium into the intima. So these are the four factors which initiate the process of atherosclerosis after endothelial injury. The first one is adhesion of monocytes and T lymphocytes. Second one is increased vascular permeability because of breaching or injury to the endothelium, platelet adhesions and thrombosis, and movement of LDL from lumen to the intima. In this schematic diagram, you can see here, after injury to the endothelium because of etiology, there is adhesion of the leukocytes, and these leukocytes mainly either monocytes or T lymphocytes. At the same time, increase vascular permeability. Because of this increased vascular permeability, more and more leukocytes will enter into the intima. This is layer of intima. At the same time, there is formation of platelets, adhesion and primary hemostatic plaque and thrombus formations. And because of this increased vascular permeability, the LDL from the lumen which goes inside the intima. Now, in next slide, is leukocyte, as we all know, there's monocytes and T lymphocytes initiate atheroma formations. Yes, after that entering into the intima, they produce chemokines, and these chemokines allows further penetration of endothelial layer. So it's very clear that after enter into the intima, there are more and more leukocytes enter into the intima because of this chemokine release, which allows penetration of the endothelial layer. Monocyte migrate into the intima where they transform into the macrophage. Yes. After the enter into the intima from the lumen, these monocytes, because of release of chemokines, it converted into activated macrophage. Endothelial dysfunction and increased permeability leads to penetration of LDL from blood vessels within the intima. Okay. Here LDL is oxidized. See, after enter into the intima, the LDL is oxidized by the action of oxygen-free radicals, which is produced locally by monocyte macrophage and dysfunctional endothelial cells. So what happens that dysfunctional endothelial cells, at the same time monocytes and activated macrophage, because of chemokine release, they again oxidize the LDL, which is enter into the intima from the lumen. Now, what happens? Macrophage can engulf oxidize LDL. Now, after oxidize of LDL, this oxidized LDL can engulf by the macrophage. So what happened? The cytoplasm of this macrophage becomes foaming because of engulfment of this LDL, means fat, and it may convert into the foam cells. So it may be a larger cells. It is increase in size to its original size and foamy cytoplasm. And some of the formed cells undergo apoptosis and further release lipids from lipid rich center, often called necrotic core in atheromatous plaques. So what happens in intima? There are two types of fat, intracellular fat and extracellular fat, means intracellular LDL and extracellular LDL. Intracellular LDL means oxidized LDL, which is engulfed by macrophage, and extracellular LDL, the first source of extracellular LDL is enter from the lumen to intima, and the second one is because of this apoptosis of this macrophage, it may broken up and release the fat. So here in atheromatous in intima, the atherosclerotic plaques, you can see intracellular fat as well as extracellular fat. Now, oxidized LDL has a major role in the atherosclerotic plaque formations. Again, it is cytotoxic to the endothelial cells. So, it may again cause endothelial injury. So, dysfunction of the endothelial cells, and these dysfunctional endothelial cells may produce free oxygen radicals, and these free oxygen radicals again the LDL which is enter from the lumen to the intima is oxidized LDL. Major role of activate macrophage. Yes, this activated macrophage may be a form because of these chemokines as well as oxidized LDL, and which produce cytokines. These cytokines, see, understand, these cytokines again increase leukocyte adhesions. So already there are leukocyte adhesions and increased leukocyte adhesions. So process is ongoing and ongoing. It is never stopped if the etiological agent not removed. Chemokines, accumulation of monocytes, again oxidized LDL cause reactive oxygen species which may cause again aggravate oxidation of the LDL, and it may cause release of growth factors. These growth factors may be a platelet derived growth factors, fibroblast growth factor and transforming growth factor alpha. And these growth factors may lead to stimulate smooth muscle cell proliferation, migration of the smooth muscle cells from the media of the artery, and there is extracellular matrix synthesis. So it's a major role of oxidized LDL in atherosclerotic plaque formation. Here in schematic diagram you can see that it is a dysfunctional endothelial cells. The cells after injury, the leukocytes like macrophage, means monocytes and T lymphocytes enter into the intima. The white color is of intima. And after entering into the intima, they release chemokines. These chemokines again increase the vascular permeability, and because of this increased vascular permeability, LDL enter into the intima, and this LDL may be oxidized because of these monocytes and dysfunctional endothelial cells release oxidative metabolic product, and which again oxidize this LDL, and these oxidized LDL again cause more and more leukocyte adhesions, smooth muscle cell proliferations, chemokine release, and these all leads to further aggravations to made up of atheromatous plaques. See, these smooth muscle cell proliferations produce extracellular matrix, and these may also engulf oxidized LDL and become foam cells. So there are two types of foam cells. One is macrophage, which engulfs the fat, and the second one is smooth muscle cell proliferate and migrate from the media of the artery because of oxidized LDL, and these are the two sources of foam cells. First is smooth muscle cells and the second one is macrophage. It is a fully formed atherosclerotic plaques in which you can see the lymphocytes, T lymphocytes. You can see here smooth muscle cells which is laden with fat. Here you can see monocytes or activated macrophage or foam cells again filled with fat, and here also extracellular fat. I have already told you that there are two sources of extracellular fat. One is enter from the lumen, and second one is apoptosis of these monocytes as smooth muscle cells which break up and release that fat into the intima. Lipid accumulation occurs both intracellularly and extracellularly. As I have already told you, extracellular lipid is derived from insudation from the vessel lumen, mainly in the presence of hypercholesterolemia, and also from the necrotic or apoptotic form cells. See, this is fully atherosclerotic plaques. Here you can see that lipid debris means it is a core, lipid core, which is made up of extracellular fat, come from either lumen or from the breakage of these foam cells. Here you can see the foam cells in form of macrophage and smooth muscle cells. These are the extracellular fat. And here you can see that these smooth muscle cells can cause extracellular matrix depositions. And these extracellular matrix depositions and smooth muscle cell proliferations, they form fibrotic cap. So fibrotic cap is made up of extracellular matrix and smooth muscle. This is a fibrotic cap, and the process is, or the whole structure is known as fibro fatty atherosclerotic plaque. I think now the idea of atherosclerotic plaque is clear in your mind, that from the injury to the endothelium because of etiological agents to the fully formed atherosclerotic plaques. So it's all about pathogenesis of the atherosclerosis. I think the idea of, or the theory of pathogenesis is clear in your mind. Now come into the morphology. So till now we had discussed introduction and definition, then epidemiology, then risk factors, which again divide into modifiable, non-modifiable, and additional risk factors. We had discussed the role of individual etiology or risk factors in the process of atherosclerosis. This all leads to injury to the endothelium, and because of this endothelial injury, the sequence of events can occur, starting from the adhesion of the leukocytes to the fully formed atherosclerotic plaques. Now the morphology. In morphology, atherosclerosis is a patchy and nodular type of lesion. Predominant affect intima of large and medium sized arteries like aorta, coronary arteries, cerebral arteries, and leg arteries. But the majority of the artery which is concerned are aorta and, means, coronary artery, aorta, and cerebral arteries. What types of lesions can occur in process of atherosclerosis? The first one is fatty streak or fatty dots. The second one is diffuse intimal thickening. The third one is atherosclerotic plaque, simple and complicated, and afterwards complicated lesions. So these types of lesions can occur in the atherosclerosis. From initiation can occur with fatty streaks and ends with complicated lesions. So here in schematic diagram, there is a sequence in progression of atherosclerosis. So in this process, it start with initial lesion. It is considered as type 1. Then fatty streak formation, type 2, intermediate lesion type 3, atheroma type 4, fibroatheroma type 5, and complicated lesions is type 4. So initial lesions, what happened? It is histologically absolutely normal. You can see only little form cells, isolated form cells, nothing else. So it is equal to normal. Now after that, what happens? The next lesion is fatty streak, in which there is a mainly intracellular lipid accumulation. So lipid enter into the intima, again oxidize LDL, and these oxidized LDL becomes engulfed by the macrophage, and this macrophage engulfment leads to fatty streak. So here you can see that the cells having engulfment of the fat and become sperm cells. Till now there is no any type of lipid core or no any type of smooth muscle cell proliferations. The next further step is intermediate lesions. What happens in intermediate lesions? Intracellular lipid accumulation as it is. Now small extracellular lipid pools. So And these extracellular lipid pools is because of more and more lipid enters from the dysfunctional endothelial injury or cells, from the vessels lumen to the intima. And again the second source is because of apoptosis of these foamy cells, the fat again liberate from itself into the lumen. So intermediate lesions, till now there is no lipid core, some extracellular fat and intracellular fat. The fourth one is atheroma formations, in which intracellular lipid accumulations and the core of extracellular lipid. Yes, here what happens, here you can see that there are more lipid enter into the cells, into the intima, and it may cause there is a lipid core formation, but again it is a small in amount. And the fifth one is fibroatheroma. The fibroatheroma is why? Because here there are smooth muscle cell proliferation, there are extracellular matrix depositions and fibrotic cap formations. These all may lead to fibroatheroma formations. Here you can see that there is a lipid core. Here small in amount, here larger in amount. So core formation, fully formed core. You can see the form cells, at the same time extracellular lipid and smooth muscle cell proliferations. And here you can see that fibrotic cap, which is made up of smooth muscle cells and extracellular matrix. If this fibrotic atheroma may progress, and the lumen may becomes more and more narrower, and because of this narrowing of the lumens, the pressure of the blood may becomes here cause injury, mechanical injury, because of this blood flow, and which may lead to complicated plaques. Again, because of this injury or surface defect, there is a formation of primary hemostatic plug, platelet adhesions, and because of this platelet adhesion, there is a formation of plaques, plug, primary hemostatic plug, and this may lead to blockage, fully blockage of the vessels. And this is why atherosclerosis is the 95% percentage of the reasons in case of ischemic heart disease. So in case of myocardial infarctions, the major 90% etiology is because of atherosclerosis. And these atherosclerotic plaques, in other words, we can say complicated plaques. So initial lesions and fatty streaks seen in the first decades, these intermediate lesions and atheroma in the third decades, and these fibroatheroma and complicated lesions can see in the fourth decade. So it is a very insidious process, it is an ongoing process till the step type 4, means up to the atheroma, the growth of this plaque mainly because of lipid additions. But after the step 4, means in type 5 and type 6 lesions, it is mainly because of smooth muscle cell and collagen, means extracellular matrix formations. And after the injury or complications, may be a role of thrombosis and hematoma. And these hematoma and thrombosis may be a clinically silent or overt. In silent, we hear lots of time we hear that patient is died in sleep because of MI. Why? Because of silent, clinically silent, and sometimes overt, means patient having clinical symptoms. So it's all about sequence of events in atherosclerosis. There are 6 type of lesions: initial lesions, fatty streak, intermediate lesions, atheroma formations. Till type 4, there are mainly a role of lipid accumulations. And further in fibroatheroma, because of oxidized LDL, more and more oxidized LDL, which leads to increased smooth muscle cell migration from the media. At the same time, there is proliferation of smooth muscle cells, formation of fibrotic plaques and formation of fibroatheroma formation in type 5, and in type 6 this fibroatheroma may be complicated because of surface defect, or because of this surface effect is because of these pressures by the blood flow, and it may lead to thrombosis and complete blockage of blood vessel lumen, leads to ischemic heart disease, may be a silent clinically or overt. The first lesion is fatty streak. It is earliest precursor lesions. As we already discussed, it is mainly seen in the first decade. Grossly, we can see the multiple small fat yellow lesion in intima around 1 mm to 1 centimeter in length, mildly elevated or flat. It may be highly fragile. In histologically, we can see only lipid-filled macrophage in the intima. So it's all about fatty streak. Here you can see the photograph, gross picture of fatty streak. Yellowish lesions, slightly elevated lesions around 1 mm to 1 centimeter in diameter. In histologically, microscopically, you can see only the foamy macrophage, fat laden macrophage in the intima or in the fatty streak. The second reason is atherosclerotic plaques, whitish, yellow, elevated dome shape. Yes, obviously dome shape because there are intracellular fat deposition, extracellular fat deposition, leukocytes, adhesions, more and more leukocytes in form of macrophage and T lymphocytes. At the same time, there is a proliferation of smooth muscles and extracellular matrix depositions. Because of this, there is a mass formation, and this mass is porridge like mass, and this porridge means khichdi, and this khichdi means we can say that atheroma, and this atheroma is dome shape, opaque, glistening surface that bulge into the lumen, and the surface is firm and fibrotic because of this cap formations, and this cap is made up of smooth muscle cell and extracellular matrix. The center is soft or contains gruel-like material. Gruel means soft material. So clear about atherosclerotic plaques. It is gross. Again, slide showing describe the gross. The atheroma or atherosclerotic plaque consists of raised focal lesion initiate within the intima having soft yellow core of lipid covered with firm white fibrous cap. White to whitish yellow and impinge on lumen of artery. Yes, dome formation. It reflect to dome formation. Vary in size from 0.3 to 1.5 centimeter in diameter, but sometimes coalesce to form larger mass. These small plaques meet or matted together and form larger mass. In this image, you can see the cut surface of this open surface of this aorta, in which you can see numerous calcified and ulcerated yellow whitish atherosclerotic plaques. This is a coronary artery atherosclerosis. Complicated plaques may lead to hemorrhage into the atherosclerotic plaques. Such hemorrhage acutely may narrow the arterial lumen. You already know that atherosclerotic plaques have three principal component cells. Which are the cells? Macrophage, leukocytes and means T lymphocytes and smooth muscle cells. Extracellular matrix in form of collagen, elastic fiber and proteoglycans. Intracellular and extracellular lipids. So these are the three major components in the atherosclerosis. The superficial fibrous cap is composed of smooth muscle cells and dense extracellular matrix. Beneath and to side of cap is cellular area consisting of macrophage, smooth muscle and T lymphocytes. Yes. In advanced lesion of atherosclerosis is risk at the following pathological changes. Yes, focal, it may be a rupture, it may be ulcerations, it may be erosions, result in there is a highly thrombogenic substance. These include thrombus formation. Hemorrhage into the plaque, especially in coronary arteries, contain hematoma, may expand the plaques or induce plaque rupture. So it's describe all about complicated plaques. Here you can see the normal lumen of the artery, the beautiful endothelium, intact endothelium, which is rest on basement membrane, consists of intima, media, and adventitia. What happens in the atherosclerotic? You can see that injury to the endothelium. After injury, the process or sequence of events will start from the adhesion of the leukocytes to the smooth muscle cell proliferation and extracellular matrix synthesis. Here microscopic image, you can see the normal artery which is having absolutely normal. There is no any type of lesions. In this image, you can see the microscopic picture of atherosclerotic plaques. Here you can see the lumen which is a narrowed lumen because of this plaque formation. This is plaque, dome shaped plaques. Here you can see the fibrotic cap which is made up of smooth muscle cells and extracellular matrix. Inner side you can see the formed cells. At the same time extracellular lipid. You can see the cholesterol crystals and there is thickening of the intima. Clear? Again the diagram showing fibrosis, cholesterol core, inflammatory region, thrombus formations and fibrotic cap. Yes. Again the picture microscopic image showing atherosclerotic lesions. Here you can see the hemorrhage and here clear cut the space which is reflect the crystal type of formations which is cleft formations or crystal formations of cholesterol. Again the zoom photograph of these cleft or crystals, you can see that it is a cholesterol crystal or cleft. In complicated cleft, fibrous plaque is increased in size. It may be a calcified, it may be ulcerations or ruptures. After ruptures, because of exposed subendothelial regions, leads to primary hemostatic plaque formations. Because of platelet aggregations, formation of thrombosis may lead to embolisms, may lead to hemorrhage in plaques, and sometimes because of weakening of the vessel wall, there is a aneurysmal dilatation. So it's all about complicated plaques. What happens in the complicated plaques? Complicated plaques, yes, the picture showing plaques, thrombosis, hemorrhage, calcifications, and aneurysmal dilatation. What clinical effects of atheroma? On the heart, it may produce ischemic heart disease, may leads to either sudden death or may leads to myocardial infarctions, may leads to angina, may leads to arrhythmias or may leads to cardiac failure. So these all entities include into the ischemic heart disease. The second one is here you can see the photograph of myocardial infarction. Here you can see that there is a infarcted regions because of atherosclerosis of these coronary arteries. Second major arteries involved are the cerebral arteries which leads to ischemia, may leads to transient ischemic attack, may leads to cerebral infarctions or multi-infarct dementia. Here you can see the photograph in which you can see that there is an infarcted area and after infarction there is a hemorrhage and thrombosis formation. The third one is abdominal aorta. Major arteries involved may leads to mesenteric ischemia and these may leads to ischemic colitis, malabsorption and intestinal infarctions. So its clinical effect pertaining to abdominal aorta. Here you can see the atheroma formation in the intestine and leads to infections. Peripheral vascular disease. Peripheral arteries are also involved in atherosclerosis like popliteal arteries, and which may lead to intermittent claudications, Lariche syndrome, ischemic rest pain, and gangrene. So these are the clinical effects pertaining to peripheral arteries because of atheroma formation. In this photograph, you can see abdominal aortic aneurysm. There is see that abnormal dilatation of the lumen. Here again the schematic diagram, the more picture clear in your mind. That is why I put this image. Here you can see the normal artery, and this normal artery in first decade of life, because of etiological agent or non-modifiable or modifiable risk factors, there is a fat deposition, or because of fat deposition is because of endothelial injury. And in second or third defect, these fatty streak may convert into intermediate lesions or fibrofatty plaques, and it continues and converted into advanced or vulnerable plaques. And these advanced or vulnerable plaques may lead to either aneurysm, and because of this aneurysm there is a rupture of the vessel wall and leads to hemorrhage. It may lead to these vulnerable plaques may be complicated because of injury to these plaques, and may lead to thrombus formations because of primary hemostatic plug and platelet aggregations, and or it may cause silently critical stenosis, and lastly completely blockage of the arteries. Again schematic diagram showing type 1 lesion, isolated macrophage, type 2 intracellular lipids, type 3 intermediate lesions in which type 2 changes, mainly intracellular lipid accumulation is there, at the same time small amount of extracellular lipid pools, atheroma formations in which intracellular lipid accumulation, at the same time core formation of extracellular lipid, and type 4 and type 5 is because of smooth muscle cell proliferation and extracellular matrix formation, fibroatheroma, and complicated lesions. Here you can see schematic diagram showing atherosclerosis with blood clots. Here you can see that atherosclerosis, what happens in atherosclerosis, narrowing of the lumen and this dome shape, it is a fibroatherosclerotic plaques and spasm of the arteries. Now, how will you diagnose a case of atherosclerosis? These are the diagnostic protocols. First, electrocardiograms means ECG, which measures the electrical impulses. The second test, stress test, means treadmill test, in which you can detect the ECG changes after exercise. It may be a diagnostic of ischemia or angina pectoris, and the third one is coronary angiography. So these are the diagnostic criteria of the atherosclerosis: ECG, treadmill test, and angiography. Now the treatment. Many people are able to manage coronary artery disease with lifestyle changes and medications. But other people with severe coronary artery disease may need angioplasty or surgery. We can hear lots of time there is a balloon in angioplasty, stent. These are the entities. So here you can see that what happens in atherosclerosis, narrowing of the artery. So lumen can be as it is with the either putting a balloon inside the vessels or putting a stent inside the vessels to make the narrow lumen into the patent lumen. So get regular medical checkups, control your blood pressure, check your cholesterol, don't smoke, exercise regularly, maintain a healthy weight, eat a heart healthy food, and manage stress. These are the factors which leads to prevent atherosclerosis and ischemic heart disease. Thank you very much.